Good morning. I am really late to the party on this. I saw Logan, which will be the last portrayal Hugh Jackman plays as Wolverine. And this is mostly going to be a rant. So, rants are fun to do. I want to address first that I don't hate this film. Even though I'm going to get pretty angry in this, I don't hate the film Logan. I think it's a bad film. I don't think it's well made. It's very overrated, but I don't think it's god-awful. I don't think this is like the worst blockbuster of the decade. Not even close. But it's more annoying and it's harder to be nice to it when so many people are just worshiping this movie. So, with that said, wow, this was a bit of a letdown. Wow. Now, the biggest problem with this film is it is precisely how Hollywood would direct an R-rated movie. And what I mean by that is all the movies are made in Hollywood, but what I mean is the typical Hollywood movie, the one that you would expect, the blockbuster, the one that's going to make a lot of money, the action movie, all that stuff, the mainstream stuff. In that, this film is a big head up its ass. And what I mean is it comes to us, it comes to the audience where it thinks it's hot shit. It thinks it's gonna be, it's telling us, okay, we're gonna be darker, we're gonna take more risks, there's gonna be blood, there's gonna be gore, there's gonna be profanity, there's gonna be nudity, there's gonna be Wolverine going crazy. And that's what fans have been wanting. If anyone makes the argument you need to read the comics first, save it for yourself, because that's bullshit. If I saw the Avengers film and adore that movie without even reading a single Avengers comic, why can't this film do the same? Now, for some background, quickly, I'll just say X-Men 1 is probably quite possibly the best. Really, really enjoyed it. Second one, I thought was good. Has a lot of problems, especially toward the last third. Third one, I thought sucked, like most people. Wolverine, the first one I didn't see. First Class I thought was pretty good. And again, has some problems, but Wolverine, the one I called The Wolverine, I thought that was really good. I think that's probably the best one to date, and I definitely got the most out of Wolverine's character through that. Days of Future Past completely confused the hell out of me, but I thought it was good. It had some good action scenes, good character. But yeah, Apocalypse I didn't see because Days of Future Past did kind of turn me off, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting tired of this, so I didn't go see it. I've heard it's all right, but anyway. Logan is what I really wanted to see, because I wanted to see the superhero movie that is rated R and goes all the way, where it has legitimate tragedy, real adult problems, real, drama, and just goes crazy with it. This isn't the movie for you, and this is my problem with Deadpool, because that was a movie that was rated R. It had that opportunity to be rated R, and it didn't go all the way with it. It doesn't go all the way with breaking the fourth wall. I only know 2 good fourth wall jokes. Only 1 good, inappropriate joke, adult joke. And the violence is mostly CG. Most of the action you don't see, because they don't know how to film a good action scene. So that was a bit of a bore. And this film is, we had Blade in the 90s. That was kind of more the comic book, R-rated film. In this one, it annoys me so much because it has such an arrogance to tell us we're going to go all the way, and it doesn't. It doesn't. It thinks it is, but it isn't. Okay, if you have this opportunity to be R-rated, and to make a profit on it, this R-rated comic book movie, and you're going to make a profit on it, if you're not going to go all the way with this, don't fucking make it. Because, okay, the first scene, this is a perfect example. The first scene is, Logan's driving, right? Oh no, he's sleeping in his whatever cab car, and there's these thugs who are taking out his tires, and he's trying to be peaceful with these, saying, you better get out of here, and basically they try to beat him up, and then he gets pissed off, and he starts axing them off, right? This is when I knew there was a problem with the movie. The action and the editing and the camera work is god awful. This is nearly Hunger Games-esque awful editing. You don't see shit. There's a cut every half of a second. Where's the blood? I have no idea. And it lasts for a short period of time. You don't feel any sense of impact or catharsis. It's just, that's all you get. So what's the point of telling us, okay, we're going to make it badass, we're going to, this is upping it, when you're not even going to show the gore, and where it's mostly computer-generated gore? Okay. Even the kid in this movie, who's, this mini Wolverine, people keep saying, oh, this chick is such a badass. Compared to, someone like Hit Girl, she's got nothing on her. Yeah, she kills people. Yeah. What else? Cover her in blood. Have her covered in intestines and liver, and maybe, I could really feel that. The Kick-Ass comic, far more graphic than the movie. And the movie is more graphic. It has a beating scene that is more graphic than this entire film. And that's supposed to be a comedy. Okay? This entire film always has this sense that it's going badass and going crazy, where they're not even going to show you. There's this one part where Wolverine's fighting somebody. And, most people love this scene, and I didn't. It was where there's this shot. It's this wider shot. I'm like, oh my God, a wider shot where you can see everything? I didn't know those existed. In my mind, I'm going, please hold, please don't cut, please don't cut. I want to see this fight. I want to see this choreography. And 3 seconds, cuts. Probably even less than that. I know a movie is getting on my nerves when I'm counting in my head how long each shot is. Because you're distancing us from being immersed in the film. Get us in there. Okay? Stop cutting, because it's harder to succumb to the illusion. And I want to see the choreography. I want to see the hard work these performers, these stuntmen and these actors are putting into the film. And they're not going to show it. This film suffers from Hollywood acting disorder. And what I mean by that is, you ever notice how people like, Hugh Jackman, Jennifer Lawrence, have this thing where if they're in a drama, they're unfucking-believable. Like Hugh Jackman in Prisoners, that is the best portrayal of rage I think I've ever seen on screen. That is the type of anger that gets your heart pounding and makes you want to become a little kid again, go into the shower in the fetal position, and wait till he stops getting mad. That is the level of rage that Hugh Jackman put into that role in Prisoners. What happened in this movie? Isn't this character supposed to be bitter, misanthropic, and, completely a lost cause? Where's the anger? People go, well, he gets angry in every scene. Yeah, for, a second. And it's not even full rage. The closest was that beginning scene where he's just on the ground, he's going, ah, and that's it. Where is the scene where he's swearing and shouting and going ballistic with his surroundings, like maybe to the little girl? Because that is a setup. You've set up this guy with a hot temper and this young girl, you could have such drama with that. Where they're in this one room and he's going fucking nuts. Where is that performance? Where was that performance in Prisoners where they enabled him, in the script to do that? All the scenes are so short and the camera shots are so short. Watch the part where he's torturing the guy in Prisoners. Think about how long that take was and what he was able to get out of that performance. I feel so bad because I know what this actor is capable of. And they're not using it to his potential. That's the problem in these Hollywood movies, these big blockbusters, is that these scenes are so short and they pad it. They overdose it with music, cutting every 5 seconds. And they're not letting the actors do the editing and do the music in silence. That is what is effective. Give them opportunity to be them. If you're going to make a character angry, if you're going to make him misanthropic, if you're going to make him this, complete cynic with a temper like Wolverine, that character is just written on paper, handed to you, and you never give him an opportunity in the film to go absolutely fucking ballistic. Thanks, movie. This whole film, excuse my crude language here, this film is like getting a hooker and, she actually ends up being, this intense dominatrix who is this big orgasm denialer. That's what this feels like. It's never releasing what you want to see. I want to see him rip people's guts out. I want to see him swear up a storm. I want to see him lose his fucking mind. And it doesn't give us that. That's this whole thing about these blockbusters. They never provide the opportunity. And I saw The Great Wall, the guy from Game of Thrones. Where did the talent go? That was bland as shit. Matt Damon, he's a great actor. Where did that performance go? I don't know if it's the script or the director or the editor or the composer or all four of them combined. Give these people time, and you don't have to put as much effort and time into making it good because you don't need all that music. You don't need all these pretentious angles. Just let them do their thing. They're on the screen for a reason. Same thing that happened with Xavier. I could not give a shit about Xavier. There's something about it. I'm just like, where did the weight go? Because I saw the Wolverine. I wasn't even that close with Wolverine as a character. I actually that was my first X-Men movie I saw. I didn't need the trilogy. I didn't need Origins. That was the first X-Men movie I saw, and I think that's the best one. It has the best character. So clearly there's a problem where I don't give a shit about Logan in this movie. I don't give a shit about Xavier. And I could care less about the little girl. Now I'm going to talk about the ending of this film because, there's a lot to complain about here. So one thing is, I might as well go into spoilers here. There's a moment here where the girl is saying there's an Eden here in the comic book, and he's saying you're out of her mind. They made this up. It's for entertainment, but she keeps thinking that it's real. And I guess on the way there, they find 12 or whatever kids who are these man-made mutants who were used for the military. When these kids are noticed by the bad guys, and by the way, the villain, what a useless villain. This is the most bland, useless villain and useless performance ever. But anyway, the bad guy's chasing them because they want to use them for military, typical villain bullshit. And when they're running, why did they all of a sudden become little schoolgirls? You're mutants. Use your powers. These are mortals. The one guy is a mutant. Cool. You could gang up on him and kill him 3 to 4 fucking times. These are people. These are mortals. Kill them! Then, I don't know, Logan takes that steroid thing, whatever. It basically makes him really good again. So he takes it as this kind of last stand and, you know, goes crazy with it. Again, doesn't show us the intense gore. It's like, there's stabbing them in an action scene, and then there's them bathing in blood, okay? That's what I wanted to see in this film. I wanted to see, if you're gonna make this an R-rated film, take advantage of what you're going to do. Make it Reservoir Dogs violent. Make it Old Boy violent. Make it Prisoners violent. Make it brutal and graphic. And that way, you know, the hooker can actually suck me off properly. So now, when Logan dies, okay, so they show him being impaled on whatever, the branch, which is like crappy CG, of course. And then when the Wolverine clone comes in and starts to stab him, it's too much. That's too much. Oh yeah, that's bad. We can't use that. We can't show the audience something so horrible. The Wolverine knew what its rating was. It knew what it could do and what it could not do. And it's far more intense. This isn't. You know, unless... Alright, I'm done talking about it, but now we get to the kids. This is another idea that this film has such hubris because it thinks it's going crazy. It thinks it's taking so many risks. Because when you say you're rated R, that means you're allowed to kill people off, right? You know, that like the Avengers films, they're PG-13 so that they can bring characters back, right? So in this film, you have the opportunity to go, when they're dead, they're fucking dead. Now, you have 12 or whatever, 7, 8 kids. Not a single one of them dies. Where did the drama go? Because you need to think about what you're giving to the audience. You're giving them 8 innocent figures to be axed off. You don't kill a single one of them. There's no sense of release or drama or tragedy with that. All there is, oh, even though we're an R-rated movie, we're not going to kill off the kids. Nope, can't do that. I actually respect the film Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, even though it's a crappy movie. I respect it more because it wasn't afraid to axe off kids. You know, I'm not saying every R-rated movie needs to be killing toddlers left and right, but when you have that herd of kids, you need to kill some of them. You need to put some of them in a lot of peril because you've set this up. You know, if you had the one kid and probably survived, but maybe extremely wounded, you know, that's the whole thing. Even the girl is not immensely wounded. So it's like there's no sense of payoff. There's no sense that they've been on this journey. You know, something like Predator. At the end of that film, you know this guy's been on a trip. You just see it even in the performance, really. So how much more effective would this have been if, say, the girl lost an arm, you know, 3/4 of them got slaughtered. They got slaughtered. And there's only 4 of them left, all severely wounded, but they must go on. That is using everything to your advantage, movie. So, I really don't get why this film is considered the Dark Knight of Marvel movies. You know, the Dark Knight didn't have to be violent. You know, it's like, oh, but it's hyper realistic. Who cares? Because the discussions and the acting and the story made up for everything. in that it didn't need to use violence. If it did use a lot of graphic violence, it would have felt more gratuitous. With this, it wants to bathe, it wants to relish in the idea that it's so violent. And it's not. The Dark Knight relishes in the idea of, politics and that people are not good and they're not bad. And, it's a thinking man's movie. Logan is not a thinking man's movie. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There's movies that are just not a thinking man's story. They're more simplistic. And that doesn't mean they're, for the less intelligent people, they're oftentimes better. But know who you are, movie. Know who you are. Know what you're telling the audience, what you're going to give. Know what you're going to do. And when you say you're going to do something, you better do it. But, I really hope we get that superhero movie someday, where you get someone like Steve McQueen to direct it. Get Alejandro Inarritu, did I say that right? To do that. Do it like Revenant style. I want to see that so bad, but apparently that's not going to make enough money. So that's the message of the day. Everything's about money. So I really don't get it. And again, I don't hate the movie. If this film was badly received, I wouldn't be so angry at it. I would just be like, yeah, it didn't work. It tried to do things. And, in the end of the day, wasn't really glad I saw it. Kind of a letdown. But the fact that this film is just revered so unbelievably, it makes me want to go against it so bad, right? So I hope you enjoy your afternoon.